الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وإمام الخلق أجمعين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد عبده ورسوله. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أما بعد. In the name of the living God, the merciful, the compassionate, to whom all praise belongs, the everlasting, the sustainer, the loving, the all-forgiving, the light of the heavens and the earth, whose light has always been and will continue to be the driving force for our existence and survival. And I hereby testify that there is no deity worthy of worship, devotion, service, and love except God. And I hereby testify that Muhammad, upon him be peace, is God's final messenger and the seal of all the prophets who was sent to bring about mercy to all that exists. My sisters and my brothers, it's an honor for me to be standing before you today doing this Salat al-Jummah as one of the activities for our commencement of Georetown, Qatar. And it has been on my mind since I was invited to come here, discussing with myself, arguing with myself, debating what should I be talking about. There are so many things that one would like to talk about, I would like to discuss, but knowing there is no much time, I decided to speak on something that is quite important in light of a great hadith. Hadith, for those who do not know, refers to something that happened with the Prophet, peace be with him. Someone came to the Prophet and said, "Oh Muhammad, I am a Bedouin man. I have just converted to Islam. And I am about to go back to my tribe. And I do not have much memory. So teach me what is the best thing to learn, something that I can take back to my tribe." If I will translate that in modern terminology, the plane is about to take off, oh Muhammad, and I only have 1 gigabyte memory. So with 1 gigabyte memory, I don't have much to learn because I have so much on my brain. Imagine the challenge that this man was giving the Prophet. What should the Prophet say in a sentence or two that would summarize Islam, something that this man would take back to his tribe? If I were to ask any of you who are Muslims here today, or even those who are not specifically Muslims, a part of our faith community, many of us would say Islam is 5 daily prayers. Many of us would say Islam is the Shahada, the testimony of faith. Many of us would say Islam is the Zakah, or Islam is the Hajj, or Islam is the fasting of Ramadan, because this is how we were raised to know or to believe that Islam is equal to those rituals. Not to undermine those rituals. The Prophet himself told this man a lesson I believe we Muslims need to listen to. We need to comprehend. We need to understand. We need to run with it in so many ways, in so many shapes, in so many directions. The Prophet told this man 2 sentences. that would summarize Islam. In Arabic, he said, تطعم الطعام وتقرئ السلام على من تعرف ومن لا تعرف. If I were to translate that hadith literally, it would mean, word by word, that you feed the food. What does that mean? Not clear. You feed the food. It's a sentence that requires an object. Usually you are told to feed the hungry. You are told you have to feed those who are in need. But here the Prophet did not give us an object. Did not tell this man, you should feed whom? Immediately after that he said, and that you greet with peace those you know and those you do not know. Few things are amazing about this statement. Why did the Prophet did not say, number one, you greet with peace. Number two, you feed the food. Why did he put the food first and the greeting second? In another hadith related to that, the Prophet said, oh you people, أيها الناس, أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام. Oh you people, spread peace. And here he did not say that you tuqri'u salam, that you say assalamu alaikum. He said that you spread peace. A huge difference between saying assalamu alaikum and actually living assalamu alaikum. In the second hadith, the Prophet is telling the Muslims, you have to become an agenda of peace. You have to espouse an agenda of peace. You have to be able to make peace with all around you. Those of different religions, those of different nations, those of different backgrounds, those of different nationalities. Make peace between people. Remember that you do not make peace with the friends, because the friends are always and have already been in peace. Peace is to make with someone you actually oppose, someone who you actually disagree with. So the Prophet said, number one, you spread peace. What does that mean, my brother, relating it to the second hadith, or the first hadith I mentioned? Why did the Prophet say, you give food to the poor? He did not say you give food to the hungry or to the rich. He did not say give food to the young or to the old. He did not say give food to the close relative and to those who are far. He did not mention any specific one. As you don't only care for those you know, you have to care even for those you do not know. You have to build the bridges not only with those you like, but even with those you may not like. You only, in the mind of so many people, you care about those who are close to you. The Prophet, upon him peace, wanted us to go that further step. Whereas we don't only reach out to those we know, but also to those we do not know. And I believe this is the problem of Muslims in so many countries around the world. We say Islam is a religion of peace, but we are yet to live that religion of peace. The Prophet is telling us, before you say to someone, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you, you have to show him in action, Assalamu alaikum. And the best way to show someone Assalamu alaikum in deed, not in word, is to actually feed him. Why, my brothers and my sisters? Because food is a symbol of survival. No one can live without food. Therefore, when I was on the plane writing my notes for my khutbah, for my sermon, what I wrote is this. For me, the Prophet is telling us to say to those we do not know, I care about you in action, not in word. I care about you enough to embrace you. I care about you enough to cater for your needs. I care about you enough to look after your survival and your existence. I am ready to sacrifice for you. I'm hospitable to the stranger. I put my love into action. I act love, not just talking about love. Now I wrote after that, do not say Islam is a religion of peace. Show it to me. That's what we hear in America, my sisters and my brothers, when we go out to talk about Islam. That's what we are told. If Islam is such a wonderful, peaceful religion, why do we hear all the things we hear about Muslims? So how can we espouse that the prophetic tradition, whereas Islam becomes by obeying, not by claiming? Whereas we become a community of belief manifested in our deeds, not in our words. Because my sisters and my brothers' actions speak louder than words. Recently I wrote on my Facebook that perceptions are more powerful than realities. People understand you by how they perceive you, not actually by what is happening within you. So we Muslims are supposed to change the way people perceive us, not only by telling us them about who we are, but rather by manifesting this agenda of love, this agenda that cares about all people around the world. This is why the Prophet ﷺ says, "U'fu amman zalamak." Forgive those who have oppressed you. "A'ti man haramak." Give those who have held back from you. "Wasil man qata'ak." And reach out to those who have cut you off. My brothers and my sisters, as they say, and as we teach our children in America, sharing is caring. We need to care for those we come across, whether we know them or do not know them. We need to care for all people, whether they are Muslims, Jews, or Christians, Buddhists, Hindus, or Baha'is, whether they are black or white, men or women, whether those who are on our camp or those who are on the opposite camp. Sharing our food with people changes people's hearts, people's minds, and people's perceptions. Caring, my brothers and sisters, require 5 things: love, unconditional love, understanding of the other, the ability to communicate with the other, the ability to forgive the other, and the ability to trust the other. Imagine when you invite someone to your home. You are telling them, I love you enough to invite you to my home. I understand your needs enough to invite you to my home. I am willing to communicate with your heart, soul, mind, and needs enough to bring you into my home. I'm willing to forgive anything and everything you have done to me enough to invite you to my home. And I trust you enough to bring you to see me from within. My sisters and my brothers, because I care and because I love, I feed people before I tell them I love them. In other words, my sisters and my brothers, to show that you love someone, you need to interact with them. You need to listen to them. You need to respect them. You need to accommodate them. You need to celebrate your differences that you have with them. Love is the essence of faith. Forgiveness is the essence of religion. And humility is the essence of a humanity. I believe you can never claim to be faithful if you don't know how to love. And you never claim to be religious if you cease to forgive. And you never can attain your best of a humanity if you are not humble enough. So in the spirit of that hadith, before we tell someone I love you, let us tell them we love them in action, not only in words. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. Ask the living God for forgiveness. الحمد لله الكريم المنان، الحمد لله ذي الطول والفضل والإحسان، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، وأشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد عبده ورسوله، شهادة مليئة بالعرفان، مخرجة صاحبها من النيران، مدخلة إياه إلى الجنان. My sisters and my brothers, basically my message is, we Muslims everywhere around the world, whether we are in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, in Egypt, or in America, whether we are in Indonesia, China, or Europe, we have to espouse a new message of love, a new agenda of passion for compassion. We have to espouse a new way of introducing Islam to our children and to the world. A message that makes us Muslims care for people's survival, enough to become a voice for the voiceless, enough to be able to use our resources to offer shelter to the homeless, to become a voice for the captive, to become a voice for justice everywhere, justice for Muslims and justice for non-Muslims, justice even for our Mother Earth. That is the message of Islam. So my sisters and my brothers, something I want you to go home with today is this. What this hadith for me teaches me is this: how we can develop the ability to love without wavering, the ability to care without measure, the ability to embrace others without hesitation, the ability to accommodate others without calculation, and the ability to cater for others' needs without expectations of return of favor. This is what Islam wants. Mafruq, a Sahabi, a companion, once came to the Prophet and said, "Oh Muhammad, what do you call people to?" Muhammad said that they have to maintain the unity of God and they have to stop worshipping idols. Then this man said, "Oh Muhammad, what comes after that?" Muhammad said that you command justice, that you take care and show hospitality to those who are near and those who are far, and that you speak against indecency, evildoing, and envy. Then this man said, that is indeed a religion I want to espouse. A culture of passion for compassion to stop oppression against women all over the world, against the trafficking of women all over the world, against the exploitation of the poor all over the world, and to become a voice that prevents the language of violence, all forms of violence, against all forms of people. A culture that embraces all people, a culture that embraces all human beings. Do not break God's heart. A love that makes you give your coat away in cold winter is what this hadith is telling us. In the midst of power-filled world, love others. A different kind of love. Not loving to get something, but loving to give something. Because of all of this, remember that there is more power in giving. There's no more power in forgiving. And there is more power in giving away. Again, I summarize this. There is more power in giving. There's no more power in giving away. And there's more power in forgiving. This is the kind of message I wanted to give for this commencement season. So I urge those of you who are from Georgetown and graduating this year to become a voice for the voiceless, become a voice for good making, for bridge building, for peacemaking everywhere you go. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا، اللهم كفر عنا سيئاتنا، اللهم ارحم ضعفنا، اللهم أحسن خلاصنا، اللهم تولى بالباقيات الصالحات أعمالنا، اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا، اللهم اجعل في قلوبنا نورا، اللهم اجعل في أسماعنا نورا، اللهم اجعل في أبصارنا نورا، اللهم اجعل في صدورنا نورا، ومن بين أيدينا نورا، ومن خلفنا نورا، ومن على شمائلنا نورا، ومن على أيماننا نورا، ومن تحتنا نورا، ومن فوقنا نورا، وفي قبورنا نورا، ويوم القيامة في وجوهنا نورا، نورا من نور وجهك الكريم. O loving God, we ask you that you may empower us with your blessing. We ask you that you may forgive us our sins. We ask you that you may wipe out for us our shortcomings and mistakes. Allow us, God, to become agents for the doing of good. Empower us to become tools for justice everywhere. Oh God, allow your light to descend on our faces, on our hearts. Allow your light to shape our minds and our souls and our directions in this life. Forgive us as we stand before you. Forgive us as we stand in front of you. And allow us into your divine kingdom of peace, mercy, and goodness. Allahumma ameen. Wa aqim as-salah. Inna as-salata tanha 'anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Wa la dhikrullahi akbar. Wallahu ya'lamu ma tasna'un. Aqim as-salah.